It's much easier to believe something than to live in confusion.
Yeah.
Humans don't like confusion. We do not like feeling unstable. We don't like not knowing what reality is. And it is much easier to, this is why Trump broke everyone's brains. He's broken everyone's brains on the left, and now on his way out, he's going to break everyone on the right's brains, with a few people maybe left. But it's easier to just get on board with believing anything than to sit with the uncomfortable feeling that I'm sitting with of, I don't know. It's uncomfortable. I mean, what is it right now? 33 of the lawsuits have basically fallen apart, and 2 were accepted in terms of the election.
Yeah, they won 2 of them.
And they were like, oh, you need to stand 6 feet closer or something.
Right.
Instead, know,
it wasn't like, oh, we've uncovered fraud.
Yeah.
Fraud was never proven.
It was like, let them stand 6 feet instead of 20. But I am in the same place of, I see Build Back Better everywhere, all over the globe.
Okay,
The
you need to
Great
explain
Reset.
this, because a lot of people have no idea what this is.
Build Back Better came from the rich people meeting at Davos, basically saying we needed like a reset.
A new world order.
And we've always joked about Davos. I mean, if there is an Illuminati, they meet at Davos every year. Biden's slogan was Build Back Better, which I always thought was a horrible slogan. But then I start seeing it all over the world.
To build back better.
We have to build back better.
Trudeau is using it.
Building back better while maintaining our momentum on reaching the 2030 agenda. This pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset.
Now it's like the slogan for this new world order, I guess.
It is.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is like...
So the whole idea of Agenda 2030, because that then comes from the UN, where they have these sustainable global goals. And if they meet these sustainable global goals, you have a one world government, a one world banking system. Instead of the US being in power, every nation's equal and in power, and there's one governing class. And then they were wanting to hit that by 2021, but then in 2015, they said, no, that's going to be more likely 2030.
But it was also contingent on 90% of the population being wiped out.
Correct.
And now that's
which would
part
then
of the
make
conspiracy.
it like 500 billion or whatever million, some odd number, I don't know.
90% of the population would be like
And
6
how
billion people.
That would happen is through a pandemic, which then in October of 2019.
Yes, Sam, I'm listening.
Event 201.
Event 201 happened in October of 2019 before the coronavirus. And it was sponsored by the WEF, which is owned by the UN, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which was to expose what would happen if there was a global pandemic and how the private and public sectors need to come together to then control and put everybody in order.
But there is the biggest part of the conspiracy theory is that then basically the UN is working to wipe out 90% of the population
Correct.
in order for their predictions to come through, because that will make the population much more easy to control.
Exactly.
Etc.
Why aren't we having Sam demonstrate this with strings and poster
charts.
boards behind us?
I would like to see some charts and graphs.
I will happily do a dumpster fire with Sammy Flaps and Folds on conspiracy.
It is interesting, too, that this pandemic has pushed more people back down into poverty. It hurts the most vulnerable, and it has been. And the thing that drives me insane about these lockdowns is that it has decimated the middle class and decimated small businesses and transferred more wealth up to the rich than any time in ages, because now we have like 5 corporations that are making all the money and all the small, like, how come you can't go to your local business and you can go to Amazon?
Mm-hmm.
It's bullshit.
And
Agenda
we had already
2030.
had a
Agenda 20. I'm on board.
We're in.
2030. I just
convinced
want
us.
to say. Because Agenda 2030, going back on why people are suffering,
Yes, Sam.
because Julian Huxley Aldous Huxley's brother, who was the head of, Brave New World writer, his brother was the head of one of the UN divisions.
Mm-hmm.
Eugenics, the whole thing, because it goes all the way back to Plato.
Oh my
Jesus.
God.
The
Okay,
research
we're not
that I've
going back
done.
to Plato. We've got a
But then with
show to
eugenics,
shoot.
it was all an order.
Many hours later.
Julian Huxley was like, well, there are a lot of poor people who aren't going to advance to higher education, and there are a lot of weak people, and the best way to get rid of them to then advance the rest of humankind to live under this world that we want to create.
Many unbearable hours later.
From 1945 to 2019, COVID-19.
Well, so I was saying that the proof is in the pudding if in February of 2021 a new strain of COVID comes out called COVID-21, then I'm on board for Agenda 2030. Because
It is fucking creepy how easily we've all just skipped into authoritarianism.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ, everyone's just like, tra la 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 la. Sure,
And
you can tell us what
now-
to do and lock us down and come into our homes and tell us how to talk and tell us what to say and what we can't say
and monitor our thoughts.
and monitor our thoughts and our
And the
speech.
UN now has a biometric digital wallet for all of its employees that was announced earlier this week.
Dun, dun, dun.
Agenda 2030.
The United Nations is ready to digitally transform how it deals with identity by providing its personnel with a universal, system-wide identity solution. Introducing the UN Digital ID. All of your personal, HR, medical, travel, security, payroll, and pension data in the palm of your hand. UN Digital IDs, a building block for digital cooperation, unlocking the promise of the SDGs.
They're testing it out on them first before they make it mandatory for everybody else.
Sammy
Agenda
FNF
2030.
went deep down the rabbit hole. I don't think
Look
she's
it up.
ever
We've
coming
lost
back.
her now.
Close my third eye. Close my third eye. I've seen the truth and I don't like it.
So anyway, back to talking about everyone losing their mind.
Buy all the guns and ammo you can.
We get it. We get it.
We understand how easy it is to just slip right over that edge.